Hello, welcome to the Sports Psychology channel. In this video, we will talk about why football players use snus during games, why it helps, and why many sportsmen use it. To begin with, what is snus? Snus is a tobacco product that is popular in the Scandinavian countries, especially in Sweden. It consists of finely chopped tobacco, salt, flavorings, and moisture, and is placed under the upper lip. Snus is produced in various forms, including serving bags, flaps, and pasta. Snus may have fewer harmful substances than cigarettes because it does not burn, but simply releases nicotine through the mucous membrane of the mouth. However, it still contains nicotine, which is a drug and can cause addiction. Snus can be useful for those who want to quit smoking cigarettes. It can help reduce the desire to smoke and provide a small dose of nicotine. However, this does not mean that snus is safe for health. It can cause various health problems, including cancer of the lip and oral cavity, high blood pressure, and the risk of cardiovascular diseases. In addition, snus can cause other undesirable effects, such as dizziness, nausea, headache, and insomnia. Its use can also lead to problems with teeth and gums. In general, snus is a tobacco product that has its own characteristics and health risks. If you want to quit smoking cigarettes, seek help from a specialist and consider alternative methods to combat nicotine addiction. So what are all snus used for? Like any other nicotine product, snus can stimulate the central nervous system, improve mood, increase concentration, and reduce fatigue. These effects can be useful for football players during the game, when they need to stay in high shape and concentrated throughout the match. However, it should be noted that the use of snus can cause serious health problems and lead to addiction. But there is one problem: snus not only helps football players to concentrate but also has a negative impact on them. Snus, also known as Swedish snus, is made from tobacco, which undergoes special treatment to reduce the amount of toxins and nicotine. It consists of small portions of tobacco packed in small bags that are placed under the upper lip. Snus has a lower concentration of toxins than traditional tobacco products such as cigarettes, but still contains nicotine. The consumption of snus can lead to various diseases of the oral cavity, such as cancer of the tongue, lips, and gums. This is due to the fact that snus contains carcinogenic substances that can damage the cells of the oral cavity and cause the development of cancer. In addition, snus can cause gum diseases such as gingivitis and periodontitis, which can lead to tooth loss. Snus can also cause dependence on nicotine, which can lead to difficulties when trying to quit tobacco use. It can cause the same withdrawal symptoms as when quitting smoking, such as irritability, insomnia, and anxiety. In general, snus is less harmful to health than smoking traditional tobacco products, but still poses a threat to health. If you plan to use snus, be sure to consult your doctor and follow the recommendations for safe use. Football is one of the most popular sports in the world, and many football players become celebrities thanks to their achievements on the field. However, as in any other sport, there is a danger of tobacco use, including snus. Some football players resort to the use of snus to improve their fitness and concentration on the field. However, as we have already mentioned, snus can lead to various diseases of the oral cavity, as well as cause dependence on nicotine. There are several examples from the world of football when players have been seen using snus. For example, in 2018, football players from the Swedish team AIK were seen using snus during a match. In the same year, football players from the Norwegian team Rosenborg were also noticed for the use of snus. However, most football players are aware of the dangers of tobacco use and try to avoid it. For example, football players from the English Premier League are prohibited from using snus during matches and training sessions. In addition, some football players use alternative ways to improve their fitness and concentration on the field. For example, many of them resort to special diets and workouts to improve their endurance and strength. In general, the use of snus can lead to serious health consequences, including for the health of football players. Therefore, it is important to be aware of the dangers of tobacco use and follow the recommendations for safe use. What do the players themselves say who are hooked on snus? In one of the clubs, the name is not mentioned for obvious reasons. They tried to ban snus until they realized that it was useless even on the bus on the way to the match. the players together with the coaches threw tobacco. The team doctor wished to remain anonymous laments, "I can't stand this habit of the guys. Every year we remind you that it is harmful, but it's much harder to give up snus than you might think." Jamie Vardy wrote in his autobiography that Swedish tobacco is very popular among players as mentioned above. The Leicester striker himself lit up. In 2018, Vardy admitted to tears. One former Premier League footballer told The Athletic on condition of anonymity that he was well aware of the addiction. "I was 18 years old when I tried it for the first time. I was in Manchester, where I crossed paths with a couple of familiar guys from the national team. Let's go to a nightclub. There they took out a snooze and said, 'Check it out, man.' At first it brings pleasure, nerves, but over time the effect disappears, and the usual addiction arises. How many times I tried to quit, it didn't work. It's like with cigarettes, people quit, but then they start again. Although everyone knows that there is cancer, that there are heart problems, the PFA is concerned about the huge increase in the popularity of snus among the players of club academies. Teenagers and young men buy tobacco from their elders. There is also an alternative. Nicotine bags are available for free sale. One pack of 20 sachets costs £5, which is much cheaper than the expensive Swedish original. Surprisingly, according to English laws, bags soaked in nicotine can be sold to persons under the age of 18. Lee Johnson says, "The young guys are looking at the best players of the club. They score a lot, drive the best cars, earn a lot of money. These are idols. And these idols put 2 or 3 bags under their lips. Young people, just take an example. In the Hibernian, Johnson staged a whole war against snus. Somehow I just told the players everyone who uses snus will leave the club in the winter," the coach recalls. Doctors and physiotherapists helped those who had a hard time quitting. The players were shown presentations with slides with the words, "You are photographed, you've lost." One guy actually had this after the operation. He was recovering in the hospital and literally climbed the walls without snus. He was desperate, begging the doctors to buy a couple of cans. As a result, his girlfriend secretly gave snus. Doctors were swearing because in combination with strong painkillers, nicotine could have a negative effect. Johnson continues, but the Swedes laugh at the anxiety of the British. Newcastle defender Emil Kraft is calm about snus. "Absolutely normal thing for Sweden. I don't see anything strange or disturbing in this." Victor Lindelöf somehow placed an atmospheric morning still life, a cup of coffee on the table next to a can of his favorite tobacco. According to Eurobarometer, in 2021, the number of Swedish smokers was just under 5% of the total population. This is largely due to the alternative in the form of snus. The Athletic also mentions the story of how Henrik Larsson threw a snus before a penalty shootout with Romania in the 1/4 finals of the 1994 World Cup. "I just had to calm down a little," the Swede admitted 20 years later. Zlatan Ibrahimovic also dabbles in tobacco. Last year he dropped a bag right before coming on as a substitute in one of the matches for Milan. Why is snus so popular? Experts see this as a manifestation of the so-called light rebellion. They say that football players should not smoke and drink large amounts of alcohol, so they use a compromise option of quickly feeding the body with a shock dose of dopamine. There is no smell of sour smoke from the hands, nor from the clothes. Snus is even called an element of the starter kit for a football player in England. If earlier the players hid their love for Swedish tobacco, now there are whole boxes with colorful washers in the locker rooms. There are many ridiculous tales and stories associated with snus. For example, the MU players sent Maser Rod Thornley to the hospital with poisoning. Someone jokingly put a bag of snus in his sandwich. There is also a story about an unnamed goalkeeper of a top Premier League club who always keeps a stash of tobacco behind the goal during matches.